months. So we are already a month into 2021. It's kind of hard to believe. But today I'm going to talk about all the books I've read, the books I'm probably going to read in February, and then even a little home haul for you. I always find though, whenever I do these monthly wrap-ups, they're very inconsistent because I find I either read 3 or plus books a month or I don't read at all that month. There's just really no in between. Let's get started. So this first book, I'm technically cheating on. Okay, I will admit, I am cheating with this. Just a little, because if you watched my favorites of 2020, I talked about this book, but I wasn't done with this book. And since I read majority of this book in 2021, I feel like I can count it in for my January wrap-up, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think it took me a long time to read because I was not really feeling it. Like, I'll be completely honest with you. A lot of it too was December. It's just always a crazy month. No matter what, it's just super crazy. And so it took me a while to actually read this book, but once I kind of got into it was like over the 100-page mark, maybe 150-page mark, that's when it really took off for me, and that's when I found myself really reading. So since I read most of it this month, I'm going to count it for this month. Our main character, her name's Addie LaRue, and she makes a deal with, let's just say, the devil to live forever, but her deal's not really what you think it is. Like, she ends up making a deal where she lives forever, but everyone forgets her until one day she meets this guy who suddenly remembers her, and that's kind of where the story goes. I love this book. I never realized I put it on Goodreads about like 4 years ago. And so before there was even a title, I love this book. I love the premise of it. I will admit though, I felt like it did kind of fall short. Yes, just a little. Like, I loved this book, but there was parts in it I wish the author would have gone more into or would expand it more. It's a standalone book, but I feel like there could be a sequel written for this book. I mean, I'm not really sure what it'd be about, but the way it ended, I want to know though what happens. Like, I guess use my brain and figure it out, because the author kind of left little hints on probably what was going to happen, but I really do wish I would have known more about it, just because I am someone who I like to know the whole story. And that's basically it. It was a very interesting story. I really liked it. Like I said, I think it did fall short in some areas, but other than that, I really did enjoy it. I loved both the characters' perspectives. It was a fun book to read, and honestly, I highly recommend it. I gave this, I think though, a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Some of that could be, like I said, it took me a little while to read this just because I was busy. It's like, I loved it. I liked it, but I wouldn't say it was like my favorite book of all time, but I did like this book, and I really highly recommend it if you are looking for something new and different. Like I said, the writing style is a little different. That's one thing I do wish this book would have done differently, is maybe read from a first person perspective, because the writing was amazing in this book. Like, I'm not criticizing the writing whatsoever. Like, the writing was top notch amazing, and I really like the author used the writing style to really create the atmosphere she was going for, but because she wrote it the way she did, especially like in a third person sense, I felt like I wasn't able to connect personally with the characters. Like, when it's written in first perspective, like, I would really have loved to know deeper inside some of the characters' heads. But other than that, that's so minor. I love this book. Let's just say 4 out of 5 stars. It was so good. My next book. So I read a book by this author last year, and I loved it. And so I wanted to pick up another book of hers, especially right now. It's winter, it's snowing, so I thought this might be a really good vibe to go for, and that is One by One by Ruth Ware. It was an interesting book. I like the social media team. It's this company. They go to this ski lodge resort, and an avalanche happens, and they get snowed in, and slowly but slowly, their team members start to slowly, let's say, disappear one by one. I like this book. Like, don't get me wrong, I like this book. I read it like in a week, but I was a little predictable just the way it was written. I was never 100% sure on it, but I was finding it a little bit more predictable. There were clues there. I was like, huh. I was never 100%. When it was revealed, I wasn't that surprised. Anyway, though, it was still a good book. I think I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it wasn't really at the 4 mark level, but it definitely wasn't just, it was a book average type rating. So I definitely did enjoy this book. I do recommend it if you just are looking for something that has a little bit of a creepier vibe, but yeah. Okay, and then the last book I read this month, and I really like this book. This book came out 2 years ago, actually. I remember when it came out, and I was just like, yeah, you know, it just doesn't really sound like my time era, because like I love historical fiction books, but it has to be like in a time period I'm actually interested in. And I wasn't interested in this book until I watched a TV show, and I was like, huh, I want to read that book because I was in Barnes & Noble's. So I bought it, and that is The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I love Salt to the Sea. It was one of my all-time favorite reads of 2016. I loved the book. I kind of had higher expectations going into this, and I liked it. It was good, but kind of like with my same critique I had with Addie LaRue, I just felt like I was able to connect well with the characters due to the writing style. And the author did a very deliberate writing style in this book. There was a reason why she chose to write like that, and I get it and I understand it, but I just felt like there were so many characters that had such good potential that I really would have loved to like dive in more to them, but it just didn't happen because of the writing style. It's a very fast-paced book, but it takes place in 1957 Madrid, and this is like post-Spanish Civil War era. Kind of the hardship during that time, the dynamics, and it was a very interesting book. I did like it, but like I said, I think I just wasn't able to connect well with the characters, and then the way it ended, it kind of just ended abruptly. Like, the author did clarify her main point of the book, and it was clarified at the end more, but for a story, I felt there was a few loose ends, which you kind of, like I said, Addie LaRue, I could use my brain and kind of figure out probably what most likely happened, but I want to read about it. I want to know. So I personally didn't care for the ending of it. I felt like it kind of just ended. Like, I mean, I was reading it. I was completely reading it, and I switched to go to the next page. I'm like, oh, there's no more. What am I supposed to do now? And definitely this book is not really set for a sequel. So yeah, I guess that was my only critique, is the ending of it. So the writing style was good, fabulously done, and like I said, the author clarifies why she went into the writing style she did. And so I get her point, but at the same time, I just wish I could connect more with the characters. But I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I know there's a lot of 3.5 out of 5 stars this month. So my rating scale is like 5 out of 5. So like, best book ever, will stay with me forever. Like, loved it. I forget I'm reading. So I give that to very few books because I really do like to save that for the books that I really, really enjoy. 4 out of 5 are kind of just,
you know, I really like this book. It was super good. I flew through it, but I wouldn't say it was the best book I've ever read.
and so that's kind of where my 4 out of 5 comes. And then 3 stars, it's like, you know, it was good, but I didn't really have an opinion about it, or like, you know, I finished it, but I didn't really care for it. Kind of like in the middle. So 3.5 usually means it's in the middle between it was good and I flowed through it, but it wasn't to the point of 4 stars. I just didn't really connect with the characters due to the writing style, but other than that, it was just a fabulous book, and I do recommend reading it if you really want to read a good historical fiction. Okay, so books I plan to read this month. I don't normally like to plan my books out ahead of time because it's all like with what I'm feeling that month. I could say I'm gonna read these books, and then halfway through the month, I'm like, I don't feel like reading those books. Like, I don't want to read those books. The books I know for sure I'm gonna read because I either started them or I've been waiting for them for a while. One of the books are The Midnight Library by Haig. I read How to Stop Time way back in 2018, and I love the book. So now I'm excited to read this book. So far I've liked the book. It's very interesting. Next book, and I started this today as well, and it's The Nest. Not too much about it, but basically it's about 4 siblings, and there's this huge inheritance and all sorts of stuff. I don't really have too much details on it without reading the back to you. But basically, every sibling has a motive why they want this inheritance, but there's something that's threatening it. It's an interesting book. I mean, it's not really, though, I think for me personally, like I said, I think I'm almost halfway through it already. Definitely, I don't think it's my type of book, but it still is a really good read. I've been listening to an audiobook of this, and so far I've kind of enjoyed it, but like I said, I don't know how much I'm gonna actually like it because as the story's going, I'm like, it's not really my type of book, but I don't know. Maybe, you know what? There's still hope. And then my last book I plan to read this month, and I'm so excited, guys. I am so excited for this. When I heard about this way back in 2017 that the author was coming out with another book, I waited and I hoped, I thought, oh, it's gonna be a year. Nope. Another year buys. Nope. Another year. Nope. And so finally this summer I saw the release date and I almost cried. That is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I love the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I loved it more than the Throne of Glass series. I'm not sure though what to go in expecting because it is not in our normal narrator's perspective. It's through her sister's perspective, I think, and so I'm not really sure. Like, I see everybody's like,
oh yeah, I want these people's perspectives.
I do too. Like, I like these characters. characters, but at the same time, I want the original characters' perspectives. I think a lot of people will disagree with me on that because, you know, they had 3 books, but I just really like those characters, okay? So yeah, I'm so excited to read this book. Like, I mean, I'm pumped. Like, I've been waiting, and then when I found it got moved to February, I was like, why? But I am so excited to read this book. We've all waited so long for this book. Though it's gonna bother me that the covers are different, which I know why they did it, but still it bothers me a little. But yeah, those are the books I'm gonna read for February that I know for sure I'll probably read more, but yeah. And then finally, my little home haul. Now, I bought all this at Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby's like my target. Like, I'll say I'm going in for one thing and then I walk out with like a million other things. That's why I never bring a cart. When I go to Hobby Lobby, there's a no cart rule because I will fill it, so you can only take what you can carry. So the first thing I bought is this planter. Now, this is for the plant I do not yet own, and I'm not really sure if I'll ever own one because, you know, trying to keep a plant alive, I'm not really sure if that's really my skill set, but I really like this planter, so I might fill it with something else. I don't know, probably will be a plant, but yeah, I love the design. I like the boho vibe of it all. Like, I really liked it. And then I also bought this little dish. I don't know, like, I thought it'd just be cute to put like keys in it or like loose change, like something like, you know, I like the little like branches, leaves. I don't know what to call these. The word's not coming to me right now. We'll call them branches. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really cute. And then I bought this. It's a cheese platter. I'm probably not gonna use it as a cheese platter. I'm gonna use it a candle thing. So I'm gonna put my candle on top of it, I think, like in the kitchen. It's kind of, you know, like something like that. Like, I don't know. Just like a nice little candle thing. It adds like a little decoration. Oh, I could put my candle on this blank table, but I could make it look fancy and put it on my cheese platter. Anyways, those are the books I read last month. These are the books I'm gonna read this month, and this is what I bought this past month. So yeah, write in the comments below any books you are gonna read, any books you have read that you've liked so far in 2021. Thank you for watching. Bye!